maybe 5 years ago. And there I was Oberlin College. I was a music technology major, where I studied software engineering, electrical engineering, composition, and production. And in my spare time, of what of it I have, I build musical oddities, instruments, synthesizers, toys, and that's about it.
Matt, you'd be happy to know that Matt's a bass guitarist,
yes,
drummer, and a saxophone player. Jacob, can you go? Jacob, can you introduce your interest in music to Matt? What you've been doing with music?
You mean David?
Or both of you. Go ahead, Jacob, first.
I'm Jacob. I am a web developer. I started with Build It Yourself a few years ago when I was in college at MIT, kind of nearby there. And for the last couple of years, I've been working as a web developer back in my hometown, Omaha. What
projects are you doing with your a cappella group at MIT? I understood you were recording.
Right, yeah. I was in a little a cappella group in college, and we. I don't have obviously I don't have a whole lot of experience with with audio editing software and whatnot. I was helping them produce a CD for a little while, which I think is almost. I think they're finishing that up soon. I think so. I have to get one of those to you, John, once that gets published.
I'd love to hear it, Jacob. David, can you share with Matt your interest in music? David is an intern, as is Daniel. Yeah, go ahead, David.
Well, I just, as stated before, I'm a bass guitarist, jazz bass guitarist for a couple bands in Omaha. I like doing music recording and technology stuff, so music technology major sounds like a lot of fun. But yeah, I just I play bass. I do some audio recording, audio editing.
Cool.
I do some web design.
Very cool.
Daniel and Isla, can you? Matt is a new member of our team. Actually, we're trying to recruit Matt. We just met Matt last week. Daniel, can you share with Matt where you're from and what your interests are? And then Isla, can you go?
Well, first, hi everyone. And
howdy.
Hi Matt, I am Daniel and I am from Mexico. And well, I love everything that has to do with technology. And I also love music. Since I was a child, I was, in my grandmother's house. They got this whole piano and I started to just make little sounds. But it's just like a hobby. I have never attended to, a strict class for an instrument. But that's also the two things that I love the most, just like David said before. And well, I think, I have also, recorded stuff and editing some tracks, but it's not everything from other world, just like a hobby.
All right, Daniel, thank you. Hi, Isla, good morning. Can you share your background with Matt?
Hi, I'm Isla. I'm 15. I'm from Hopkinton, Massachusetts. And I like technology and music, basically like everyone here. I've always been into technology just because my dad works with it, so I've been surrounded with it like my life. And I play piano. I've played for like 9 years, so I'm like really interested in the whole music, like recording and thing. I haven't really done much of it, but it's something that like I'm interested in and would be like a cool future project to do.
Great, Isla. Thank you. Isla, Daniel, and David are all interns. Matt, they're in high school. Okay, Jacob, sorry to take your time, but I'll pass the ball off to you and you can take it away. Can you give a brief summary of what we've been doing the past couple of weeks, just for Matt and David's benefit who have missed some of the classes? And Brent, can you have you been recording this? Thank you. Great. Okay.
Okay. So our project, sort of a group project, is a trivia game, sort of just a browser-based trivia game. And we have a GitHub repository, which I will post in the chat box.
Jacob, excuse me, may I interrupt? Can I just give a slightly bigger picture? Okay. So, Matt, Jacob and Brent are leading interns in developing a series of games, which we'll post on our website, game of the month, game of the week, maybe. And what we envision doing is creating game engines, which we could easily change to have a variety of games over time. So this is an early start, and we're first developing relatively simple web-based games. Ultimately, we might look at even more interesting games that can be done in Blender or other game engines. We've used Unity, but this is web development games that could be posted on our website. Sorry, Jacob, go ahead.
Oh, great. Okay. So last week we spent some time. We looked a little bit at some of Daniel's code. Daniel has done a lot of work on the project so far, and has a great, really nearly finished. I think we'll take a look at just a couple a couple things that we may want to improve or change, maybe just to have teaching moments. He's done a lot of work, and I see he looks like, see on GitHub you just made a couple more changes just yesterday. So let's make sure. I know last week we spent a bit of time getting everyone's development environment kind of up to speed. So I know David wasn't here last week. David, do you have like I'm not sure if you're on a Mac or Windows. Do you have MAMP or WAMP or a sort of MySQL PHP stack installed on your computer?
Was that a question to me?
That was to David.
Oh, okay.
He's got his microphone muted.
Wait, okay, so what? Okay, I have all the operating systems. So what are the programs I should have?
Do you have you worked with MAMP or WAMP? I'm pretty sure you have, like, MySQL PHP.
I've worked with them before. I don't know if I have them currently.
Okay. Why don't you go ahead? And I think you've probably installed those before, so you can find them.
Yeah.
So that's. See, I'll go ahead and find some links to post in the chat box, just in case. Okay, here is WAMP, which is for Windows only, and as we found out last week, MAMP is actually historically that was for Mac only, but now there's a MAMP for Windows.
That doesn't seem right.
So there's that. If you're on Linux, there's a LAMP, but I'm not sure we have anyone using Linux right now. Okay. So go ahead and take a few while you get up to speed there. Let's have a look at some of the stuff that Daniel has been doing since last week.
Jacob, may I ask before you get into the details, can we ask Daniel to give a quick overview of the changes he's done? Not the specifics, Daniel, just give a big picture of what you've been working on over the week.
That's a good idea. Go ahead, Daniel.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what I did is that I added the option to to win or lose the game. So now you can put certain amount of points to win and others to lose. You can also now, let me see. You can edit the time of the time you have to answer the question. You can change it very easily. I optimize the code so that it's less code and it works just the same. So it's easier to understand when you are updating it or just changing stuff. It's easier and it's faster, and also it's less heavy to manage. And I think that's it. I added some graphics and to the beginning of the game, and that's it. Yeah.
Cool, Daniel. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, great.
So, Jacob, can you share your screen so we can?
I will share my screen and we'll have a look. Okay. So here's our GitHub repository, and we can actually see that when Daniel committed these changes, he left a great commit comment here, which is fantastic. So even if someone missed our webcast this morning, they could get a quick summary from his commit comment. And then let me see. So I found this by starting kind of at the home page of the repository here, and I clicked this little description of the commit, and this shows us just everything that's changed. And you see the red part. If it's highlighted red, that's stuff that's been deleted, and if it's green, that's stuff that's been added. So sometimes it's a little difficult to tell if there's big swaths of code that's been added or deleted, what's really going on just from this screen. But we can click, then you can click the actual title of the file to go in and just see all the all the code. And now on, if you have the desktop client, which I think everyone should have at this point. David, if you don't have it, go ahead and get that from github.com. And if you haven't yet, you'll want to, in your GitHub client, click sync in the top right. And you'll see I already I already did this, so I don't have the little notification anymore that there are changes that I haven't synced. I'll hit sync, and that will download all of Daniel's latest changes so that we can see them, and we can see here all the files that have changed. Okay. So let's see, I'm going to open the actual code in NetBeans here. Take just a second. I think so. It looks like Daniel made a change to the PHP files here, and for those just joining, if you're familiar with sort of the MySQL libraries with PHP, kind of on our to-do list, we'll be updating these MySQL, using the MySQL extension to using the MySQL I extension. So it looks like since we met last, since we met last, it looks like Daniel changed this line to use the root user and just the blank password. Okay, so that's the default, I think, when you install MAMP or WAMP. That's, I think, your default MySQL username and password, which I think is actually what I have just on my local machine. Obviously, if you have a real website, you don't want to use your root user and just a blank password. You want to have a special user for your website and a better password. But for development, you know what, that's fine. One thing we will want to do, though, is make a separate, we'll want to break these out into a separate file, because you can see right now he's using those that username and password in a couple separate files. And so one thing what we will want to do is sort of break those into a different file. And what we can do, NetBeans makes me jump through some hoops here to create a new file. That's fine. We can call this something like database or DB credentials, something of that sort. Okay, and so what we're going to do is we're going to kind of make variables for all three of these values. So variables, I think maybe one or two of you are kind of new to PHP. In PHP, we define a variable. Variable names always have the $sign in front of the name, and we just define a variable by giving the name and then an equal sign and then the value. Okay, do camel case. And we'll start with we can start just with the default stuff here. We will actually want to change this to a user that we've adjusted the permissions on, and we'll talk about maybe later. Webcast will talk about sort of database users and privileges, principle of least privilege. We've talked about that in the past with some of you, I think. So what we're going to do instead of this, is we're going to use what's called an include statement. And why don't I pull up a link from documentation. I'll put that in the chat box here. Okay, an include statement. What this does is it will sort of shoehorn a separate PHP file into the current PHP file. So it's sort of like combining, two PHP files into one. And so what that will let us do is we will we'll say include PHP like so, okay, and that will make those variables available. There we go. And we may want to give these we may want to give these maybe a little bit more distinctive names, like MySQL username. Actually, I guess PHP you tend to use underscores more often than not. So maybe I should do that. I'm used to I program with in .NET usually. We like to use camel case. Okay, there we go. That way, if there's ever anything in the actual program that uses could use a variable called username, we can distinguish those. Okay. There we go. And what we can do is we can do the same thing in all the other files where we need to access those variables. And one thing I'm going to do, you can see some of the alignment is off here. So I'm going to use a feature of NetBeans where I can click Alt-Shift-F, and it will kind of fix all the indentation to sort of a standard indentation.
Excuse me, Brent or Jacob, as you're making those edits, may I just ask a big picture question?
Sure.
So one of the advantages of using include files is you can change the information in one file and it will ripple through your whole program.
Exactly. Exactly. We can change it in one spot. It's clear where to change it. We don't want to have in case you have like here you have this clear down at, not at the very beginning, but it's kind of in the middle of the code. Might be difficult to find if you're just getting started. So we define it all in one place. Hopefully kind of an obvious place. Yeah, Brent's right. We talked about having external, when we were talking about CSS, we talked about having an external style sheet. So you can just change it in one place and it affects all the pages. Yep.
Great.
And
another question, Jacob, before we get too far into editing this, would it make sense to show the program that the actual program running that Daniel made some edits to, and then show how these changes add the whole password feature to it?
Yep. Why don't...
I don't think David's seen Daniel's application yet.
Okay. And of course, Matt hasn't either.
Right.
Let me... oh, shoot. Give me just a sec. Tell you what, I need to do some funny business here to get my server running. Could I pass the ball to Daniel? Daniel, do you want to show this off?
Great.
Oh, yeah, okay. Okay, so can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, well, first of all, I added this line here. I hope you can see it. I put it there so that everyone can see it. It says, I saw a video on YouTube where Jacob teaches how to display the answers on a beauty way, and they use put colors and it works on different screen sizes. Yay! It would be awesome if he could update a part of the code. So yeah, I saw he put the four answers here, the way you show them, and I wasn't there that day, but he put different colors to the buttons, and then it was just beautiful. So I hope you, David, you can update that in a future, update.
Yeah.
And well, so the first thing you will see it changes is when you click the time, you can see this effect. You see that color changes when you are, starting to play. And well, I added some more questions, but
those are interesting questions. Those are really interesting questions, Daniel, that you added. All those questions are in the database. No?
Yeah, I can make another database file and update it so you can all have them. So if I get to 10, well, that's not good. Okay, yeah. There you see that it says awesome. You have won the game. The time stops, and then you have this link to build it yourself. So you click it, and you will be redirected to the page.
Hey, Daniel, way to go. Looks great.
And that also happens when you lose. So if you lose or you win, you will want to go to build it yourself, just because.
Okay.
So I'm going to lose on purpose. I think. Okay, so yeah. So it says, "Oh, we are sorry you have lost. Maybe the next time." And it says here, "Hey there, I think you would like to visit build it yourself." So you get into the page also.
Fantastic, Daniel. Fantastic.
And that's the things that you will see that changed. But there are also other things that you will not notice that are also working in the background. And that's the thing that, before you will have like, you start the game and you could see the first question, it appears right now, and you could, click the answer, and then a different question comes out, but you could hit this one and have the previous one appear. Am I explaining right?
Yeah.
There was an error that you will have like, let me see, you have question one. So it appears, question one appears, and then question, I don't know, 5 appears, but then you could have the probability to have question one again, and that was just not good.
So what I did, so no longer repeating questions.
Yeah, of course. So what I did is I make like an array that saves every single question that has been displayed, and then I in the next question it is still randomly, but now we are choosing not to choose the question that you have already answered. So you will have like it's random, but it's also it's more beautiful because you're not having the same and the same and the same again, and
Great.
you will eventually you will find the same question again, but that's only if you have answered them all.
Cool.
And
Very
and
cool,
that's it.
Daniel.
So,
Jacob, I hope we'll leave a little bit of time to get David and Isla caught up and maybe practice editing, making some simple edits to the code.
Yep. I think so. So Daniel mentioned kind of adding some colors to the answers there, and that would be a good. I think that would be a cool thing to get some practice making simple changes, and then maybe making a pull request on GitHub so that we can kind of propagate those changes to everyone else. So let's see, David, do you have your GitHub account ready, or Isla, either one of you?
I'd have to go back and find it. I have no idea.
Okay.
I'm getting mine up, but I have to
Okay, great.
I have to get it kind of.
Okay.
Shall we pass the ball to Isla and guide Isla through the changes, Jacob, or?
Sure.
How do you want to do it?
I'm just trying to see if I can get my database up and running on my machine, so I can kind of see what's going on here.
Jacob, while you're doing that, just interrupt me whenever you're ready. I want to update Matt a little bit on what we're doing. So, Matt, Isla, David, and Daniel are among our most advanced crew members, interns, and our goal is to get them in a position to be on our development team when they get into college. And also to teach. So this is a little bit unusual what we're doing here. We don't teach this to the main part of our business, our members who are much younger. This is just focused on the members who are most advanced. We invite them to be part of our intern team, and they're generally in high school and they're sort of learning advanced development concepts, and hopefully ultimately will teach for us and be on our development team.
Wonderful.
I think it's unusual to see high school students working at this level.
Certainly, yeah. This is pretty complicated.
Mm. Isla, have you got your GitHub up yet? Can we pass you the ball so we can guide you through making some edits to Daniel's code?
Yeah, mine's up. I can use the one on my computer, right? Not the website. Does it matter? Is it
it doesn't. That's fine. That's great.
Okay. Yeah, we can. I can share. I can have the ball.
Okay. You've got the ball, Isla.
Okay. All right, so this one's up. I don't know if that's right.
Okay, great. Great, and it looks like you've already synced the changes, as far as I can tell. I think it would would tell you, yeah. So if you click history there on the second tab, what is that going to show? Oh, so it actually, I think there's one more commit that Daniel made. If you click sync on the top right corner.
Here?
Yeah.
Oh, here.
Yep, sure enough. Okay, great. So now you've got the sort of the latest and greatest. So let's we sort of began to take a look at this a couple weeks ago. So we may have to think back a little bit. But we talked about sort of using Bootstrap to make the design responsive. Sort of just kind of getting a sampling of a bunch of different sort of web technologies here: JavaScript, PHP, Bootstrap, CSS. So if we want to open up and see what text editor did we end up using for you, Isla? Do we have
Text Wrangler?
Okay, great, Text Wrangler.
We open that up, or?
Yeah, let's try opening up the index.html file, which is sort of the.
Where would I get that from? Is it on
page? It's wherever you saved the GitHub repository.
Okay.
Let's see, what's the easiest way to find that?
On my documents.
Yeah.
It's in here somewhere.
If there's a way to see from the GitHub client. Oh, okay, great. That'll work. There's index.html.
Open that one?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Okay, so in particular, I think what we were doing is we were looking at the answers.
Mm-hmm.
Like the three answers. Actually, I think at the time we had four, but let's stick with the three answers. And we decided, well, if the screen is large, it's very large, why don't we have the answers sort of sit in a row, sort of horizontally in a row. And then if the screen gets small, have them stack vertically. And that's kind of a common thing with responsive design, is when a screen gets smaller, you start to stack things vertically instead of having them laid out horizontally. So let's see. You're looking at the right spot there with the three answers. So let's see if we can sort of change the CSS, or change even without writing CSS code ourselves per se. Can we change the classes that are on these answers so that we get that horizontal layout on a big screen and then stacked on a small screen?
Yep, we want to change these, right? Or like the.
Yeah, exactly. So first of all, so that class row is a Bootstrap class on those containing divs, and so the rows mean that everything inside there will always be a horizontal row, and what comes next is the next row. So we actually would want to get rid of the class. If this is what we're doing, we want to get rid of that row. We could just get rid of that div entirely.
So we can get rid of this entire thing.
Yeah, because those will force us to have everything in there. In fact, you can get rid of the break line as well, and make sure when you delete that div, you delete the closing tag as well. So, like that line on line 71 there, or not 70.
Yeah.
Like that yeah, because that was the closing tag. So if we're getting rid of the div, we need to get rid of both the opening and the closing tag.
Should I get rid of this one too?
Yeah, I would get rid of all three. And why don't we go ahead and get rid of those BRs as well, because those are called break lines, and those would force everything after it to go down to the next line. In fact, in general, good rule of thumb is to use break lines very sparingly, if at all, because they say that it's not semantic HTML, as we might say. It's if you want something to be on the next line, let's do that with CSS, and that'll give us more flexibility if we want to make the design responsive or if we want to change the design. Okay, so thinking back to our discussion of Bootstrap, and I am going to I'm going to put the link in the chat box as a reminder. So what classes could we add to these, to the answers there, to make them all lay out, just get the three of them in one row? Very good. There's the grid system.
You want to look over here, right? Or
yeah, go ahead and keep. Yeah, there you go. Now let's have a look at these.
Yeah.
Now the thing with the Bootstrap grid system is that, by default at least, we have 12 columns, and so we split everything sort of as a into 12 different columns. So if you want half and half, you could have 6 columns and 6 columns. If you want one to have take up 3/4 of the page, that would be 8 or 9 9 columns. Or if we wanted just three equal columns, we could do 4, 4, and 4. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. So back to the code. Let's see. Actually, so that we can like immediately see kind of the results of what we're doing. Do you want to pull this up in a web browser so we can see what it looks like right now?
Yeah, pull up the code.
Yeah.
Can I do that with? How do I do that on here? Just save it and then open it up like that.
Yeah, let's see. I'm not sure if there's a good way to do that from text. I'm not familiar with Text Wrangler, but if you open up your browser like Firefox or Chrome there.
Okay.
I should be able to like open the.
Yeah. Maybe.
Open the file, and that should.
Oh yeah.
Now there's some PHP stuff that won't run, but I think we will at least get the just the style on the front page going.
Yeah.
Okay.
Except for the answers don't move. Oh, wait, they do kind of, yeah.
Okay. So let's for starters, because so we'll explain what's going on here. What Bootstrap does kind of by default is if you have a small screen, it will collapse everything so that it's stacked vertically. But then on a bigger screen, it will use the classes that you've given it. So if we look at the code here, if we go back at the code, let's see exactly what his code is. He has these 3 divs that each have an offset of 5. Okay. So what an offset is that just pushes you over by 5 columns, and we've actually got 3. So that's kind of why I think when you open that file, everything's kind of pushed to the right a little bit.
Yeah. Is there any way to make it centered? Like, is there certain?
So what I'd do is I'd get rid of these offsets first of all. Those are kind of well, actually, I'd get rid of the entire class.
Oh, it's like
For
this entire thing.
starters, yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, now let's see. This should all be kind of crunched to one side, I think. Actually, do you want to get rid of the column middle 4 that are on the inputs as well?
Should I get rid of the entire?
I would leave the button and button default, but I would get rid of the column MD4. There we go. Okay, that'll give us just kind of a fresh start. Yeah.
Should I refresh it on here?
Yep. Let's do that. Okay, so now even if you extend the
Yeah,
it's still all crunched to that side. Okay, so let's put some classes on there to get our column layout.
Okay.
So let's see if we wanted.
Do you want me to pull up the?
Yeah. So say if we just wanted these in 3 columns, and we wanted 3 equal columns for, let's say, medium size and bigger. You could use those, like that example, like that third example. You see that col-md-4. You can use just that class on all 3 of them, and that should give you 3 equal columns. Yeah.
Okay. On these things.
Yeah.
col dash md.
Yep. So that's so what that'll do is that will give you 4 columns for each of those. And actually, we may want a containing. We may want to put these inside a container. Let's go ahead and run that, and we'll see what happens there. I think we'll want to put a containing div for all 3 answers. Yeah. Oh, there we go. Okay, cool. So the divs that are containing those answers are each taking up a third of the screen. So let's we kind of so right now they're not centered. The answers aren't centered. So let's go ahead and get them centered. So we can do that. Well, let's see a few different ways we could do that. We could go into. Why don't we go ahead and go into? Oh, we actually don't have a. Do we have a style like a custom CSS file yet?
It may already be in the folder, but I don't know. Should I check?
Yeah. So looks like there's a style.css that's linked. I don't actually see a style.css in the. the project, like under CSS.
No.
Yeah, okay, well, let's make a new one. Let's make a style.css in that folder.
Where here?
Yeah, in the CSS folder.
Should I a new folder?
No, just a new file.
Should I just make a new file and then like save it to that after?
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's
Okay.
a good idea.
I'll save it as of right now. CS style.
And let's call it style.css rather than .txt. It needs to have a CSS extension. Okay, great. Okay. Now what we're gonna want to do is we're gonna want to you select kind of all three of those answers. So we kind of need a let's see those classes on the inputs, the BTN and BTN default. Let's add a class to each of those to indicate that they're an answer.
Where do I add them?
So where like where your cursor, like see in the input element to kind of to the right of your cursor, under the classes, there's a class BTN and a class BTN default. Let's add a third class.
Mm-hmm.
Let's call it say answer. Yeah.
Excuse me, Jacob. I just want to give you a heads up, a 5-minute heads up.
Okay.
At 11 o'clock, we have another webcast starting. So.
All right, we'll be ready.
Great.
So you're just gonna name it answer?
Yeah.
Okay.
Great. So now what we can do is we can select answer in our CSS file. So if we go back to the CSS, and we can create a selector. And remember, it's a period to select a class, so it's like dot answer. There we go. And then and then you put curly brackets to complete the.
Should I do it?
Yep.
That.
Okay. Fine. And then a closing one for the. And there we go. Okay, so now inside those brackets, we're going to want to put some CSS rules. So how about this? Why don't we do like a width 80%? So it'll take up like 80% of the. That might be a little bit too big, but that's fine. And then make the margins, the left margin and the right margins, auto.
Hey, Isla, I'm really impressed that you've memorized this terminology so well. You really latched onto the CSS formatting very, very well.
Okay, I think let's say we're missing a semicolon at the end of width, the width thing, right? Sorry, at the end of the 80%, yeah. And we can put each of these rules on a separate line. You can hit enter to. Yeah, you can even put width on its own line there. Okay. All right, that's good for. Typically, we'll put that last curly bracket on another line too. There we go. Okay, great. So now let's look in the browser. Let's see that in action. Okay, let's look at.
Is there a difference? Like, should I open the browser with like the style sheet?
Right. Yeah. If you have developer tools so we can look at what's happening. I think we may need to, there may be some conflicting, like inspect element there.
Mm-hmm.
Great, there may be something conflicting in Bootstrap here that's affecting the width. Okay, so if we expand that div that's highlighted right now, if you click the little arrow on the far left, you can expand that down. See where the div is highlighted right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's expand that. And then click that input. And you can see the class isn't actually on there, but we need to save the file first. Okay, there we go. Now you can see they're wider and they're centered.
Yeah.
And so that's for whatever reason, and our I guess, we're still going to need to make a kind of a containing div that's centered, but that's okay. We can do that another time. Great. So Isla, what we could do here to finish up. You'll notice if you make the screen smaller, if it goes below Bootstrap's medium size, they collapse together, and we may have we may want to make some more changes to that to maybe put some spacing between them and change the colors and whatnot. This is a good start. Let's if you can pull up your GitHub. Client, if we can find that. There we go. Okay. Now, if you go to the Changes tab up at the top, there we go. Okay. Now you can see the
new one.
Yeah. There's a new file, totally new file, and there's changes that we made to index. So why don't we say in the summary,
the new one?
So see under where it says uncommitted changes, we're gonna update the code so everyone can get it. So we need to leave a good comment to describe what we did.
Should we do it for the new one or for the one that we changed?
Well, it's actually we'll give one comment for everything, for all the changes.
So this is for the not the new one, the other one.
This is for actually we'll commit both at once, and so we'll want one. Right now we just want one comment that will cover kind of everything. Okay. So summary. So the summary might be something like I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. If we change the way that it was formatted on the page, like we made it the width of the answer keys. I don't know.
How about making the answers responsive to the screen width?
So that'd be the description.
Sure. Summaries should just be that might be short enough to have a have it as the summary, or maybe summary you might say, edited style of answers, maybe something like that, something really quick.
Yeah.
And then in description you can say, employed responsive design for the answers or something like that.
Great. Jacob, I don't see anyone in the next workshop signed up, but I just wanted to go around the horn before we wind down.
Really quickly, Isla, you can click commit, and that will.
Okay.
Boom. In fact, now if you go to history,
there
it is. Cool.
Perfect.
All right. Way to go, Isla.
Thanks, Isla.
David, I hope you could follow this and maybe take, if you have some time during the week, take some initiative to make more edits to Daniel's and Isla's code, perhaps add sound effects or, or change the layout or add graphics. Anything you can do to get practice editing the code and committing it to GitHub. Daniel, nice work on developing this whole engine. It's I think when we're done with it, it's going to be something we can all feel proud to put in your resumes, and it will certainly be something that will be used on our website. Brent, we're going to have to work on some graphics to add to the page layout. No?
Sure.
Great. Yep. Okay, Jacob, thank you for guiding us all.